I'm talking W7M. I'm talking particularly M&M, and they've beaten both of those teams in recent history on this map, so it's not unfamiliar territory. Problem Wolves have, however, is that they also have a tendency to lose it to teams that aren't very good on this map. They lost it to, aren't very good, I'm being a little bit disrespectful here. Lost it to Bliss, lost it to Virtus Pro in recent history.
So if M80 lose this to Wolves, then M80, they're just bad? And if
I didn't say that.
Okay, no, fair enough. I won't hold against you.
Hey, you put words in my mouth earlier. He can put words in your mouth if he wants.
True.
Fair is fair. I mean, I think if you look at this as a best of 3 as it is, and you go, okay, first map was Oregon, second map Chalet, Wolves won the first map, I would kind of favor Wolves a little bit here because Oregon and Chalet play out in a pretty similar fashion, right? You can turtle in basement bomb side if you want to, with a slight roam on Chalet, of course, and you kind of want to be in their face, you want to challenge the attackers and the entries. The thing is, Wolves start on attack again. So they're going to start on their quote-unquote weaker side, and kind of have to like make a couple of rounds happen, get that 2-4 half worst case, and then go on defense where these on Oregon, they look a lot more comfortable.
Well, as we've seen some small change-ups with the operator bans here. Fenrir, picked quite extensively on Oregon, will be removed by M80 as the final ban of the operator phase. And would you believe it? Valkyrie had almost no presence whatsoever, if actually zero presence, on Oregon. She may as well have been banned, but she wasn't. This time, they make it official. Wolves decide they don't want to deal with the Valkyrie, so she's gone. And I guess after seeing Kino on Monty, they're just a bit too scared, so they'll ban out the Monty yet again. Thermite, the very final ban, taken out of action by M80. Wolves 6 rounds to start off on attack, and they'll have to use another hard breacher to get in the building.
Yeah, and that's the key point. They have to use another hard breacher to get in the building. Who's that hard breacher going to be? Ace. What's Ace susceptible to? Impacts. How many impacts have M80 brought? 8. 8 impacts they have brought. So I'm kind of liking this from M80 already. They've got a plan with that Thermite ban. It's not a common one that you do see on Chalet, but it's a very clear goal in mind. We want them to play Ace. We want to impact her.
M80 went down to the Pokemart, stocked up on some Ultra Balls, and they'll try to catch all of the hard breach that Wolves trot out. Not to also give up the fact that they're great for rotates.
Yeah.
And if necessary, they can do some pretty deceptive damage, especially against shield operators. If you bring an Osa, what works out well? Impact grenades.
Yeah.
If a Blitz comes out, you can chunk away a great deal of his HP with an impact grenade. As we saw in Oregon, though, Mowgli's just so damn good at getting these opening picks, and will do so again in the very first round. Diaz on the castle will be no more. That's within the first 30 seconds of round 1.
And this is where it gets scary for Midi. When Mowgli's getting like fired up, and he goes into the second map already fired up, you gotta shut him down at some point. Otherwise, he's gonna take this game and just run away with it.
I say this all the time about Mowgli, but about Wolves is that they play a 4v5 game. Mowgli does what he wants, the rest of the team play. If he's absolutely hot, he opens rounds for them, and then they can look even better. It's when they're at their best.
Did you not see the drone just sitting there right in front of Gomez? He's completely blind to it. Taking a bunch of damage and just some, not necessarily bad gun skill, but lack of confidence there. The remainder of Gomez fought from dead shot, a swing from Iconic still in this position, but Mowgli's good enough for a second. His adrenal surge as well, helping the rest of the team. And now it's Kino lined up, looking for single taps towards that office door. He's not going to hit anything just yet. There's the ace that you spoke of. Now working to open up the office wall. This is a kitchen defense. Yet M80's extension still upstairs. Both Kino and Spoit were in a similar spot, which means that the bomb site is technically free for the taking. Down goes Kino to Mowgli. His action is unpredictable. Spoit battling not just a refresh rate and all the stutters, but his aim as well as Mowgli dies. And there's 3 remaining for Wolves as they can barnstorm towards the bomb site. Spoit will use one of the 8 impacts that were available to open up a line of sight, but it's Bibu to do something that took him 7 rounds to do on Oregon. Get a kill. First round goes to Wolves.
Really, really smart executing the 3v1 because you can't underestimate actually how hard that is.
Yeah.
And the reason that the teams were fighting so hard for the top floor was the fact that M80 had pre-opened up all of the vertical on all of the plant spots. Now that's just a quick tip for anybody watching at home. If you're defending that site, do that as a defender because it's really good. But obviously we saw Bibu get the kill in the end. But what the key thing for me was that he actually smoked, and the plant spot was a slightly off plant spot in the smoke because Spoit obviously tried to get the smoke bang through onto where the default would be. And that's really important because we've seen it lots of times where if a player is above, obviously they can deny the plan. But with the smoke, with the off-plan spot, it was just really smart to just win the 3v1.
Yeah, no, it is. And I do want to touch upon the smoke thing where if you're gonna smoke and then plant in the smoke, why plant in the most obvious default position, right? You want to use the smoke to plant in an off position, and like we saw, Spark goes to the default spot pre-fire, doesn't hit a thing, he dies, the planter survives. But I like the fact that they were opening up the floor, kind of playing it like a border ventilation defense, one from the floor above. They brought out 8 impact grenades. We saw basically none of them being used, which was a shame. And I feel like there was a strategy in mind from M80, but then Motive goes in on the balcony to office, gets the opening kill, and then they're like, okay, snap, we gotta get some kills back here. And they lash out, swinging windows outside the building, but they get shut down. It's a 2-point trade favoring Wolves, and it just kind of fell apart very early on.
So we're seeing a Capital brought here from Shinka. Now, the reason that you usually bring Capital is to clear out the position inside of Library, because obviously this is a Baron Gaming attack. There's the position that's usually occupied inside of Library. It's not currently occupied inside of Library, but that's what you bring the Capital for. You can firebolt off that position and then try and kill the player as he runs to drop down the hatch. Now, instead, M80, they're choosing to be kind of more extended across the map. Their positions are top blue, lobby, there's Spoit over in office, Gomez all the way by trophy. They are very spread out across the map, so if Wolves realize this, they could potentially take Library and site very quickly.
It's quite an extensive roam in the previous round from M82. I think even with that early onslaught that was brought on by Wolves, there was only a single player from M80 that was playing near the bomb site. Everybody else was strewn about. This time, though, a little bit safer. Diaz was the first to die in the previous round, playing as the Castle's on a far more important and active role this time as Solus. And Kino from above over by Chimney, out-dueling P4 and flicking on to Bibu, but it's the upside-down rappel that now he needs to contend with. Safe harbor found behind that Kiba barrier inside of Library. His Deadshot might have another opportunity, and he indeed finds it. Down goes Kino, he'll need to crawl away. This could be secured if Wolves can drone it out. A nade will go in instead. Oh no! And Shinka gets the kill before Mowgli destroys him with his own nade. My, that's not ideal.
It was a nice bounce, but it went in the wrong direction, so it takes out his teammate instead, and all of a sudden that 3 versus 4 becomes a 2 versus 4, and the plan can't quite be covered any longer, so Wolves, they gotta pick up the piece and go for kills instead.
Oh, yeah, you've got to just try and force your way into sight, and there you go. Yeah. I think that for the Wolves, that round was the definition of trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Because M80 had such an extended roam out towards Trophy, out towards Kitchen, that for the most part is absolutely irrelevant, because when you can take Library or hold the defenders out of Library key, you don't have to take it, just hold them out of it if they're not already playing there. You can use that Ying and the Capital that you've got. You've got the best operators to try and just facilitate a double window plan, because you can firebolt off the player in stock. Now, if Wolves had realized that, if you gave them a do-over, they would have just hit site straight, but they're trying to do too much, too far away, and they're still continuing to do too much when they're nading out their own players as well. It's, yeah, you know, look at where these engagements are happening. They just don't need to be there if they'd have had to read into the round.
I mean, I like the fact that they go for the nade to secure the kill, right? But at the same time, Shinka jumps in the window, and you don't need to use the nade at all. So they jump in and use the nade. The guy gets the kill for free. The nade was basically wasted, but it also kills his teammate, so it's just like a double negative. But I think you're right. They're doing too much, and they're just lacking information in arguably the right areas. Had they had one single drone the bomb site itself, they would know it was clear. And as you said, you got Ying for upstairs, the carrots are for downstairs, you just hit that mini execute, you jump in the window, you hold F, you plant, you pay 4 times the building. It's free. It's super, super free. But if you don't have the intel to make that decision, you simply can't go for that.
That's the thing. We have the bird's eye. We have the God's eye view of just seeing absolutely everything. Outlines, utility, drones, everything. Obviously, Wolves are inside of the server. They might not have had said information. Now, we're going to go all the way over onto the basement bomb site. Now, a slight bit of a roam again from M80. We're seeing Gomez up on the library stairs, and Spot is off site as well, with 3 inside of site. So it's going to be curious as to whether Wolves actually choose to clear these guys out and chase their tail a little bit, or whether they realize that and try and overwhelm the site.
The first 2 rounds were in stark contrast to each other, and it came for the information game, and I don't know if maybe Wolves got knocked off so early by Kino and then had to just fight through it, and I can imagine those comms being quite chaotic. especially with M80 changing things up with how they want to go about playing off-site. Again, another very extensive roam from M80 will define the early portion of this round with Spoit and Gomez together, but hold on a second. Deadshot creeping down main stairs, ever closer. Blue looks clear. Deadshot will let that cloaking device recharge for a moment as Diaz now looking to get active. Snook of Deadshot primed with a grenade, it sails out, the jig will be up, it goes off, but nobody's to be found as now it's Kino tussling over towards Blue and might be able to prevail in an engagement as there goes a gas canister and he's thwarted by Bibu on stairs. Deadshot's in the middle of the site, boys, and he takes down Iconic before looking towards Connector. Diffuser is in as well in the hands of Shinka, but it's Spoit on the play. Goes undiscovered, putting all those bullets in the P90 to good use. A prolonged engagement with P4, now tasked with dealing with this Mowgli not too far off. A grenade goes down, but Spoit's dancing around all of them. Mowgli slaughtering him. Numbers holding steady for Wolves at the moment as an adrenal surge gives them just a bit more staying power. They've got to get that diffuser down at some point. That Oregon map was not defined by exec play at all, no objective play. So, what do you do next? What's the next step with 45 seconds remaining?
You reset, right? You want to get the numbers back here, get people in the right positions, blue stairs, fireplace stairs, and breach. And I don't know if you want to just go for a sharp plant because you can't cover everything here.
The big problem is there's a bulletproof in sight. Looking at the breach, they can see exactly what they're doing, feeding that information to the two defenders. And that's going to allow them to choose their play carefully.
Final 30 seconds, Mowgli very active walking in. Gomez has something to say about that. You'll need perfect protection, but Shinka gets off the plan and takes matters into his own hands. Wolves pick up their second round.
So impressive as well. If you compare that Wolves attacks on Chalet to Oregon, they are playing together, they're communicating, and even that 2 versus 1, they was like, oh, he crushed, you gotta get off the plan, get your gun up, and he does exactly just that and secures the kill. But also, they're finding the gaps. Deadshot on the nuke really early on, down the fireplace staircase, and they've also forced out M80's tactical timeout just after 3 rounds. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, they're not gonna push. I think if we just hit double blue that round.
Yeah, we just double blue again. We go basement again, bro, and double blue because we just didn't move fast enough, you know? So, should be a fair rerun. Yeah.
So do you want to go master? Do you want to go master?
Nah, don't go master, bro. Just go kitchen, and don't give the first pick, bro. And then like make the layer, and give us them time, you know? Because they took a lot of time to freeze and then take library, you know? So like you start there and then make them take library. Force them to take library. They're very slow. They're very slow when they take library.
Normally we see tactical timeouts to try and, you know, invigorate energy into the teams. That was a very technical tactical timeout, talking about the site choice. And I think, you know, Bodega was talking about initially about going back down to the basement. So again, even when we see that, they were talking about doubling up blue, trying to hold on to site a little bit more. We've noticed it. They're roaming a lot. In terms of M80, they're roaming very heavy. And yeah, they talked about what site. Was it going to be the same site? Was it going to be kitchen? Was it going to be top floor? They have gone downstairs and they are going to try and stay a little bit closer to site this time, from the sounds of that.
Yeah, they said they were going to do the double blue hold. And that, I mean, I guess that's what we saw last time. Kino plays close to the shotgun, one plays on close 90 corner. And the thing is, Kino died swinging in that previous round. It's like, he's up against the Buck. Buck doesn't have grenades. It's been a couple of years. You don't need to swing anything. You can stick the corner, ask your team to help you, and then escape out, maybe?
I was having such a good time.
I know,
Why did you remind me that Buck
sorry.
doesn't have grenades?
Sledge also lost this M11 like 2 years ago.
See that 1,000-yard stare. Jack just goes catatonic as you mentioned the Bucknades.
The holy golden days. I mean, I did play Smoke in Pro League back when I had the SMG-11A cock, and I don't even remember what it felt like, but it must have been glorious.
That's something you gotta include on your bingo next time. Nick talking about when he was a pro.
Oh, come on. That's every event.
He was. Did you know that?
I mean, I've teamed with Nick when he was a pro.
Yeah.
We've done absolutely everything together at this time.
How did that go, Jack?
One of only a couple of invitationals. G2 didn't win. I was a part of. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Shinka very early on threw a Selma onto that garage wall. Immediately an impact tossed out by Diaz. A single portion of that Selma is all that they got. And then Wolves bailed off of that particular point. They're not keen to re-aggress. And then it's plugged up by a Akiva barrier. So instead, Shinka will now look towards that wine component of the map. Gomez dies as again Mowgli gets there first. How many first bloods does this man have? Through both of these maps, it must be a very impressive tally.
I'm liking this from Wolves in terms of their attention to detail. Instead of hitting site directly, they've actually gone and they've hunted one of the roamers. They found Gomez. Spoit is still left alive, but they feel that they can use the numbers to now hit site by the looks of their positions.
Yeah, they're changing the pace, right? They go fast, they go slow, they go for the direct, they go for the roam click, etc. They're always giving a big guess as to what's the next step going to be. And sure, Iconic, he's got this position ready as well. Spoit's got the vertical control. And Wolves, they're going to be slow in this round, but they've already bought themselves an early advantage. They can just hold on to that for a bit longer and force it further in the round. They might just run away with it.
And there's Candelas to go off towards Trench Door. P4 not far removed. Iconic has not been droned out. He can outduel Bibu quite well. There goes a Candela too. But Iconic's got to rotate back into the site. He'll take advantage of that, getting away with his life still intact. While this action is happening down on the bottom floor, Spoit has free roam upstairs. And as Deadshot is stopped by this gas, it will buy Spoit even more time to get back in to assist his team. As it stands with 40 seconds left, both teams sitting at 4 members apiece. Utility being used. Nade from Deadshot claims Kino's soul. And here's Spoit to be the wild card on blue. Seeing one tearing through them. He's good enough for 2 with Diaz as well. Shinka now in a familiar position. He did so well in the previous round from this spot, but there's just too many targets for him to find, and M80 strikes back on that round.
And sometimes it might just be simple as talk about the bomb sites and tactical timeouts, right? Go back to basement, double blue, do it again, because they're slow and don't give them those kills. Well, they did give them one, but this time it was on the roam and not the site itself.
Thought Wolves got that a little bit wrong. I said I liked their approach to go and actually hunt the roamers.
I did too, though.
And then I thought, I don't know if they're going to just hit site and hold Spoit because they were aware of him, or whether they're going to go and hunt Spoit. They actually did neither. They hit site and didn't hold Spoit. Then he comes on the big flank, and I think, you know, little mistakes creeping in, you know, both sides.
Yeah.
And this is why it's just so, you know, so close.
I was going to say, I think there's 2 points where Wolves, they kind of missed the mark, right? It was Iconic playing Barlow from that trench door, either went undroned or just only people walking in. There was no trade. That's such a crucial spot to clear. And also, no flank drone on blue stairs. As you said, if you know Spoit is roaming, sure it's Solis, he might find the drones. But when he flanked, there were 4 or 3 drones left alive. So one of those, I mean, the most crucial spot you can cover is going to be your double blue stairs players. And that didn't happen, so he gets 2 kills.
Speaking of flanks, Bibu was hovering the Twitch. He's decided to jump on the Nomad, maybe knowing that that was a little bit of an issue. Although, you know, it's not that often you see on Chalet big flanks coming in. It's a very small map. There's very few, you know, staircases in reality. You've got the solar side, the blue side, and the lobby side, and they're at very different ends of the map. So, you know, not that much of an issue. But I will say, Nomad's seeing a lot more play now that the Ayana and Finker interaction has changed. Because what's better, Ayana or Nomad? Well, they've both got the ARX. But Nomad also stops flanks and has the flashes.
Yep. I mean, technically, Ayana also has flash banks now.
Yeah,
but gadget-wise, Nomad comes ahead.
Yeah, do you value the gadget of the flank denial or the intel that you can gain from the Ayana flank?
It was a good conversation by pros as well as to whether or not Yana, with those flashes, was actually a buff in some ways to be able to take advantage of that. I think maybe when you're playing selfishly, it can help. But at this level, the resounding answer has been no. Yana's pick rate has fallen off of a cliff at this point. Nomad rising, Gridlock rising, and Finka has been the star of the show. Her pick rate is back where she seemed to be in the LMG meta. What is going on, Spoit? Well, they do know now. It's an absolute mess inside a bathroom with Mowgli again getting the leadoff pick. And it's 2 for his trouble. A third there as well. 8 kills so far, and we're not even finished the 5th round. They've reduced M80 to just Iconic and Diaz, as Diaz will retake and have Iconic sitting inside of this kitchen site all alone.
I mean, this really is a Mowgli go kill scenario. I thought he didn't know about the bathroom player in the top. He walked in, pre-fire, bang, flick door, bang, third guy office, bang. All of a sudden, the top of the hold is gone. And you said, Jack, if you play this top of the hold with vertical control, you got a clear top and you get side, and they got everything right now.
Not a single HP of damage, by the way. That was his first fingerstim used, but he was on full HP before then. That's an incredible play by Mowgli.
Last logic bomb will go off with just a little over a minute to go. And how about a 4K? Mowgli breaking double digits. Mowgli go kill. Indeed, Nick. And then you can see the triumph on the side of Wolves, as was on Oregon. A very back and forth match between these two squads.
So, in the very first round, M80 defended Kitchen, Mowgli got a 3K, and we saw round number 5, M80 they go Kitchen, Mowgli gets a 4K. If they go to Kitchen again, he gets an ace, and then it's over.
M80 actually have a really difficult site choice. They're going to be forced into going to bar because if you go kitchen dining or if you go master office, you're susceptible to the same attack that we just saw.
Yep.
We just saw Wolves commit a hard solo take where you play one player bathroom window, one player goes in, up the solo stairs, one solo windows, one double window, and you just focus completely on solo, bathroom, and master. Now, you can do that attack on 2 sites to win two sites. M80 had won the basement, so where do you go? You've got to go, basically, to bar gaming.
Yep.
And that's exactly where M80 will choose to go, but they are forced to go here.
I was going to say,
they've not chosen to go to here.
I was going to say, this is the thing. This is forced because of the attacks working out. It's such a good thing that you pointed out, and you don't ever want to be here in defense. You want to make a choice, okay, we want to go to this bomb site, so we will go there. You don't want to be like, okay, well, we lose this, we're going to lose that as well. I guess we have to settle with bar, of all places. But statistically, I mean, they've won it on defense. It's where they got one of their 2 victories, so the numbers support it.
But should they have won it?
Yeah, that's a
Because
different story,
I genuinely
right?
think that if Wolves had realized and done a direct
They would have
take,
won it.
M80 would have been in serious trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that was the round where they naded themselves.
Yeah.
Too. That the things went to hell in a handbasket very quickly after Kino's 2-piece upstairs on Chimney.
So, is that an Iana that I see?
I never said that Yana was gone.
No,
I
no,
said
no,
their
no.
pick rate fell.
I know, and then the round after, somehow P4 for the first time in this entire series, she gets picked.
Who gives a shit?
Okay. Well, P4 is gonna make his entry into the building, right? In the window he goes. But without the nades
Keep it active.
on him, it's on Mowgli instead. He might be stuck in this library corner for now.
Pardon my French, but I'm sure there are plenty of fans who speak it who are watching right now, as it's almost midnight, so we can say it's casting after dark at this point.
Okay, that's a good excuse.
And when production gives me a leg up like a ceramic owl, I gotta take it. Also, I simply don't care for your attitude tonight.
Oh, really? I couldn't tell. I thought you were having all of it.
Mowgli right now inside a mudroom as he's led the way through so many of these rounds. He's going to be watched by Kino in this position.
Fire.
There's the fire. It'll force Diaz out of a spot that he wanted to sit so comfortably in.
So they got library, you said, Jack. They got the fire coming out. They could try and go the same kind of take, but they're not committing to it fully.
They should plant now.
I thought so too.
They've got the position. They've moved the warden out of position as well.
Perfect.
There's the first kill, and guess who it is? It's Mowgli. Only one for him, though, as Iconic is on the board as well. Is this the first time that we've seen the diffuser get planted between these squads? And M80 is winning in the post plant so far. They've reduced Wolves in numbers. Bibu, long range outside. He'll be heading back through the lobby as there's P4 sitting in back bar at the moment. Down goes Bibu. Shinka still posted up on the window, not too far removed from the diffuser. And P4, a reflex test that Gomez wins. It's all up to Shinka as there's a run out to gain his attention. Spoit killing time admirably. Iconic dies, Gomez on it. What is Shinka doing? Oh my God! In the post plant, slaughtering M80. Wolves win the first half 4-2.
I mean, played that so well. It was outside the window on the first floor, outside the window, double window on library as well, with the crosses, the 180-degree flick from Shinka, back and back and back. I mean, he shouldn't have won that. Strategically, Wolves did exactly what we wanted, right? They get library control early, the fire goes out, they jump in, they get the plant down, but they fall in the postman very early on, and Shinka pulled off an incredible clutch. I mean, look at this. He's got a flick 180 degrees, doesn't matter that he dropped, and then also gets Gomez afterwards. Yeah, to show it again in slow motion, please. It's huge.
And is that a backbreaker?
Oh, absolutely.
Mental
Shinka,
breaker as
I
well.
want to talk about this guy because inside of a UL, this guy got back-to-back 1v3, 1v4 clutches on this specific map. He's now rocking the 1vx success rate on this map for Shinka as an individual, 67%. And that's not just winning a 1v1 or winning a 1v2. This is 1v3s and 1v4s he's winning. I don't know what it is about Chalet, but it just brings out his clutch ability. The two in EUL were actually on defense. It was over by the dining kitchen where he plays mute. This one obviously on attack, but dearie me, he's potentially one of the best clutch players in the world right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, he plays this kind of really stable, like, semi-support flex where he plays like the mute, the smoke on defense often. He plays he's often live in the late stage of the round, and that's what makes him a great clutcher, right? First of all, he survives to be in that position, but also he's excellent at decision-making, isolating the 1v1s in those 1vx's, and just playing the decision-making, positioning-wise, very, very clean.
Well, that first half is in the books, and we saw something that seemed quite unlikely, which is a diffuser get planted. Wolves, the only team to really care much about the objective at this point. Impacts that were brought aplenty by M80 on defense will now be brought by Wolves, but only in the hands of P4 and Deadshot. And he's not going to waste yet another impact grenade. He loses some of his footing, but still persists on the back of this chimney. Playing on library wall with Black Mirror in front of him. All those flashes go in, and to no avail, ultimately. But no! Two different sets of nades! How is Deadshot still alive at this point?
That's incredible. I mean, I don't know. He swings the window, though, so it's all for nothing, so to speak. That's unfortunate.
I was literally just about to ask you the question, Nick. What do you do here? Do you value your life and try and get away? Do you just stay? Do you fight? As it is, he swings a player that's holding him and dies. Wow, what a utility investment for M80. Wolves got away with it, and then they gave it right back.
Yep. Was it worth it, though? Was it worth it from M80 to expend pretty much everything except for a single secondary hard breach and 2 flashes?
With the results-based analysis, yes. Had he have stayed alive and been a bit like what Mowgli is here, if this was Deadshot, then no.
That's a bit reductive. Did it work? Yes, it was worth it. That's it.
No, I mean, it is until it isn't, right? Because if he forces Mowgli in a bad position, and he has to fight his way out of this, and he fails as well, or he falls in that gunfight, then you're playing 3 versus 5 with your Wolves. And then all of a sudden, M80, well, they get the bag for this. Sure, they spend some utility, but they build a massive lead in numbers.
Oh, that's who it is! T5's leading the way, and why not? Even a baby could hit those shots. It's a good rate of fire, relatively good damage, low recoil. Mowgli with the first pick, Bibu followed up Kino, taking Mowgli out of action. As now Bibu will litter the way back through the bottom floor with a trail of very poisonous breadcrumbs. Legion will scamper off, low HP, 1 goo mine remaining. Final 30 seconds. This is not a bomb set upstairs, and it's not in the basement either. It's Bar Gaming. Kino preps the smokes, ready to obscure the vision of these defenders. M80 already falling behind on their map, but they're looking to ride what they hope to be the favorable side. Down goes Spoik, looking for follow-up as Kino trudging through the smoke, reduced to nothing by P4, who gets 2 kills. M80 burned their time out in round number 3, and they are free falling at the moment as M80 have won 3 in a row and are up 5-2.
Oh boy, I mean, it's completely flipped, right? If you go back to Oregon, in the first couple rounds, we're thinking, M80, looking mighty fine. Wolves good on defense, they destroy M80, right? And ever since we came on to Chalet, it's been pretty down one-sided because, by my account, M80's only really won a single round. Because we speak about that previous bar attack from Wolves, they shoulda, coulda, woulda won it, but they didn't. Strategically, it was great. So, M80, they seem like they are in the basement when it comes to this. And Sideswap comes out, you're thinking, attacker side of Chalet, M80 should win their first attacking round. Well, they don't. Mowgli, despite being stuck upstairs, found a kill, got away. And then again in the late round, if it's not Shinka, then it's P4. And I like the fact that in the previous round, P4 was on the Solis, there was only 2 drones left from the attackers. He's just hiding in fireplace. You knew there was no intel, hide in the corner, do some rat plays, and you get rewarded for it.
You're approaching the do or die territory at this point for M80. Again, without a parachute, no timeout left. What do you do to course correct at this point? Well, you get a pick on the Mowgli. The proverbial raid boss of Wolves, who's been striking first on most of these rounds, is now gone. And M80 will establish some much-needed breathing room. 10 seconds off the clock, and M80 already have a major advantage. Though, if you are Mozzie, you hope that your pests have been put down at this point, but you've still lost an incredible player on the side of Wolves.
Yeah, and I think in this scenario, I don't really blame Motive for going for a spawn peek. You're up 5-2. You haven't really been going for this, in the previous rounds. You might catch them off guard. But M80, they also played Bleed only like a day ago or so, a day and a half. And basically, Bleed would do this to them all the damn time. So all of a sudden, they're in a bad position. Oh, that's a wolf this time.
We bark for wolves. Gomez taking out P4, and M80 showing some signs of life in this round. Much needed, as, well, things have not been going your way whatsoever.
No, 5v3, I think for M80 it's really important that they actually get a foothold back in this game as well. So a nice bit, if this round finishes as a flawless, it will give them a lot of confidence. So it's not just for me whether they win the round, it's also how convincingly they win it, as to whether they're still in this tie or not.
Oh, you're right. I mean, Deadshot's 1 HP, M80, they're looking mighty fine this round. The question is to say, can they do it flawlessly? Just choke them out in the light. It's the discipline. Taking it nice and slow, just waiting for everything to be happening. And just again, making sure that if walls are going to be swinging, they're holding those angles and locking them out.
Nade primed and ready from Gomez now. As Deadshot will lose those track stingers in front of him. Playing to die at this point. Kino will gladly reward him on that journey. Bibu rocking that Vitality skin, a nice sight to see on the MPX above. Z and Shinka will need to clutch out, but right now M80 have fired themselves up in this round. And if they can find Shinka, they'll do so flawlessly. That's exactly it. Sidearm out for Diaz. M80 still very much in this match, but they got a couple more rounds to go to close that gap.
Yeah, and that's with Motor spawn peeking and dying, and it's on the kitchen bomb site, which statistically doesn't really seem to favor defense at all. So I'm actually surprised, rather, that Wolves opt to go there as their second choice. You got Master Bedroom, you got that basement bomb site. Oh, it's a jump out. It wasn't just spawn peek, he jumped out the window.
In terms of the site choice, actually, Nick, I just wanted to pick up on that because, you know, Wolves, they've got a 51% defense win rate. However, that's very equally split across their sites as well. You've got 56% defense win rate for Bar Gaming, 50% for Kitchen, and then 45% for the basement bomb site. So it's not even like they've got a very clear and obvious bomb site that they should go to. They are very, you know, they're happy playing all of them, but not to any great effect because it's 50-50 basically across all of them.
I mean, if I look at this from how Wolves they like to play basement Oregon with the heavy roam, playing the more fluid bomb sites, if you will, like Kitchen and Bar, you can play across all 3 floors, it makes sense to me. But now they go basement, you think, they're gonna turret, they're gonna change up the pace. No. Wolves are gonna do a full-on roam on the basement bomb site with probably just Shinka playing down there, and they're gonna start top floor, play the first floor, then fall back to basement eventually. M80, they've opted for a very roam clear heavy setup here. The fuse and the Jackal, but exactly, the fuse, that's for the bomb site, for that vertical destruction later on in the round. But because Wolves are roaming so heavily, the fuse will not have any say in this round until they first roam clear.
It's a stylistic clash, really. It's like, if the fuse comes into play, M80 have probably already won the round.
Exactly.
I mean, we're overlooking the fact that this was brought by Astralis for the fuse to go upstairs and tear open the floor of lobby, right? That was the way it was used before, but now there's an operator who does this, I would argue, far more effectively. Ram. Ram is the operator that you would bring if you want to carve up that lobby floor. The hatch is not reinforced in lobby either. So where are you going to go? In living room, rather. Sorry, over here, as you can see. Confusing them all. That's okay. It is now after midnight. Good morning to those of you in Europe, as it is 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, it is after midnight.
French fans will be waking up and be quite happy at this particular moment. Maybe not this round, as the Oryx was brought to hold map control, and Deadshot is going to hold this L with 1:15 off the clock as M80 yet again strike first. They've been doing a much better job of getting on the board early and have either gotten first blood or drawn even in all of the last 5 rounds.
So P4's between a rock and a hard place here. He's got Spoit moving in from the bathroom. He's got DS holding him from Trophy, but he manages to get away. You've got to say that's a little bit of a blunder by M80 because that was a surefire kill. I was just lining up to say how he could not get out at all, and it was a complete guarantee, and then he runs away. I've kind of cast a cursed M80 there.
You have, but again, they can reap the rewards. They get the roam, they get the one first kill rather, and now Gomez gets enabled on the fuse. So if you're M80, you're very happy. You've got everything you could possibly imagine, and Wolves are forced back into a corner, and they pretty much have to lash out. You can't stay on Cyclo's Fuse on the table. Main breach is opened up already. Sure, you got a mirror window, but again, once they go into Fireplace, that's going to get opened up. You have nowhere to play on the side besides blue, really, or the pillar. So I like this flying attempt, but Iconic's holding it.
Your speculation that the fuse might not be much of an influence on this round, while a single cluster charge was used to draw out Bibu from Kitchen, who was looking to retake main stairs, or main 4 rather. Can't get it done. Instead, it's a sight hit from M80 with those cluster charges still available. And the cojones on Gomez as he'll now force some of these defenders out of their position. As that cluster charge cuts through the reinforcement on Wine Wall, flashes aplenty to go on in. Gomez following up. Down goes P4. Gomez dies to Mowgli. Shinka still in this same spot. Mowgli to the rescue. Bibu in on it as well. Time running out. Mowgli with the sidearm. And Spoit dies to Bibu. That's match point for Wolves.
One word, how? How do you go about winning that round that way?
I wish you could see the look of disbelief on Jack's face because he is absolutely stunned.
I don't know how the M80 have lost that round.
No.
The one thing that I will say is not punishing that roam. I think it was P4.
Yeah.
To set up for a 5v3, because when it's a 5v3, you can flood from absolutely everywhere. Wasted a lot of time. I guess that's the one thing that they came down to was time. If they had more time for M80, they wouldn't have just opened up the long angle. They would have opened up the boiler breach as well, and that had much better coverage. Because I was thinking from Wolves' point of view, how are they going to stop this?
Exactly.
They're going to have to throw bodies at it. What have you got? Well, you've got a long angle to stop them doing that. As it is, P4 and Mowgli, how has he got away with crossing here and then getting to pillar? Oh no, that's gone horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, not just that, but they had the Fuse, who had 2 spare clusters when the round ended. He could have used one earlier to open the fireplace vertical destruction to, like, basically remove some of the those player positions on the side, but they didn't.
I was literally thinking this is kind of genius if you have the time, because you can have the 2 breaches, you can fuse into kind of the back of lobby that covers off the pillar area into snowmobile, and then you force like Wolves to just start running around like headless chickens, and you get the plant down. But comes down to that time pressure, and I think that was the biggest issue, and that time pressure comes from hunting that one roamer who got away all the way back in that early round.
And also when you do these kind of like one-off strats, like I call them, like very unique, very niche kind of strategies, you're not going to be super well rehearsed at doing them, right? Because you're not faced with those scenarios very often. So if you're matey, you've like theorized, you've already scrimmed it once or twice, but you probably haven't done it hundreds of times like other default strats. So they kind of got caught by surprise there, and they didn't have the time to, as you said, problem solve around it.
And there go the Candelas now as the assault will come on the solarium windows. Spoit firing through to capitalize off of these marks, finding a Gumine on the way in. P4 strikes first, Mowgli dies shortly thereafter. Both teams losing one in this initial fray. 50 seconds off of the board. M80 looked quite eager to take an engagement. Wolves seemingly greeting them, wanting to do the same. Neither team walks away with a major benefit, but Mowgli being down is huge. Even if you have lost the Ying on M80, I think this is a big win for the attackers.
Well, I agree. I think a lot of people say, okay, you got the Ying, gotta stay alive to the bomb side. But I think you can use Ying in 2 ways. Sure, one is the side, but secondly, you can use it for the room clear. So I think in this scenario, it was a worthwhile trade for M80. It's a Kino for Mowgli trade and a Ying for Asami trade.
I was just about to say this drone's really important because Deadshot's in a position that defenders can catch attackers out, which is by the office, by the desk there. And there it is. I don't know if the drone necessarily saw that he was so close to the window. P4 has also picked up the drone on the back of that.
There's an adrenal surge to go out, but Deadshot's holding this position, traded off as Iconic himself. The self-styled Batman will walk in with P4 not too far away. Down goes Bibu. P4 waiting to pop on up, but his patience might be rewarded. The last 2 players in close quarters. There's one for P4 as he falls away. Spoit with just a tiny portion of HP, staring down his former region. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Major champion on Koi, but now in major trouble, as it's him in a 1v2. Shinka, who clutched earlier, and P4 both holding court on this bomb site. Spoit has diffuser, so at least the objective is in his hands, but the time will soon not be. Only 30 seconds remaining. And Wolves know that they only need to do one thing. Wait, that's it. The round ends, they win, M80 goes home. These are the stakes. And as Spoit tries fruitlessly for an opening, nobody on Wolves will give him that. Playing against the Black Mirror as now Spoit walks in. Wolves can easily line him up, and they get him on the cross! P4 with the final kill. Wolves survive a scare, and with a 2-0 victory, Wolves stay alive, M80 goes home.
They don't just survive, they actually impress and showed up, because I have been very critical of their